Hey there, my name is Brandon Howe, and welcome back to my Making a Game series. In the last episode, we made a level creator system here. So now we can just edit a bunch of numbers in the inspector and generate a bunch of different random levels. So that's cool. In this episode, we're now going to be making said levels. But first, I've gone and made a slight bit of adjustments to our level creator here, mainly just changing some numbers here with the X radius so it works a bit better. As well, I've gone and made the score also part of stuff that gets randomly generated, not randomly, automatically generated. So now I've removed it from being a public variable at the beginning of the game manager, and instead in the score UI in its start function, getting a reference to all of the enemy scores on every enemy that gets spawned in, then adding its score to the required score. So now we have the maximum score that you could possibly get if you were to destroy every enemy, and then getting 2/3 of it and having that be the required score, and then rounding down to the nearest 100. So how that's done then here is multiplying it by 2/3, so that gets 2/3 of it. Then rounding down to the nearest 100 is done by first dividing it by 100. Mathf.floor to int will round down to the nearest integer, and then multiplying it by 100, getting it back to undoing the dividing by 100, and then saving that in required score, then does that for us. Then just changing all the references where it's used, and in the game manager, when it's used down here for level complete, just getting the reference from score UI, which we already got a reference to for other things. All right, so that's that done there. Let me save this and head back to Unity. All right, so now we're going to start making levels. Now, let's do that. So first of all, these three test levels that we had here, they don't fit our new style, so we are going to have to say goodbye to them. So deleting those. Even our level template also might not work anymore, but we'll keep it around for now just because. So now our level creator, we are going to go and duplicate it by just going save as, and this will be the new level one that we will start off with. All right, and then heading into that scene. So now we can put our level creator to the test. So first I'm gonna, in this first level, I think, because it's sort of the introductory level, we're gonna start off facing only forward, and we're gonna just have a bunch of asteroids, a few waves of them to have them be a bit separated, and yeah, simple enough. Then I'm thinking in Level 2 will introduce the turn enemy, level 5 will introduce the shoot enemy, and level 15 will introduce the turn and shoot enemy, and we'll have 30 levels total, is how, yeah, that is going to go. I'll probably only make like a few levels showing this level creator, and then go off and create the rest of the levels myself, mainly just to show off this system and its power. So let's do that. So, as I said, this is going to have only the asteroids, so I'm going to zero out the rest of those. Let's have 20. We'll have two waves of 10. So I'm just going to double that. So it'll be slightly spaced apart. So 10, 10. Now these min and max value. First we'll have a set where they're kind of spaced out, and then another one where they're closer together. So I'll actually set those to 2, and then 1 and 2, those will be pretty close. I'll separate them just a little more. Yeah, then that should potentially be it. We also won't introduce the rotation thing just yet. We'll probably have some levels going like forward, maybe down, then levels where you start facing sideways, and that sort of thing. So now we start off here, and we have our massive amount of asteroids, and our score having a max value of 100. Then some space. I might decrease that amount of space there, and then we just have a bunch of asteroids there. First level, pretty simple, just introducing the player to how our game works, and there's problem here from the, I believe it just has to do with how this is. Oh yeah, how okay, how winning like unlocking the next level. I believe there's some problems with that. I'm gonna have to go back and rework that, but we'll finish off making these levels first, right? Because this isn't, the save manager isn't set up properly here, and that's fine because when we're actually playing the game, we'll then be entering the level through the main menu, which will activate the save manager thing and have it come through. So that should fix that. So it's an error that will not happen during the actual runtime of the game. All right, so that I think I'm just gonna make this smaller, and I'm gonna have a few more asteroids. I think that was a bit too small for that. So, or this one, having that be closer, make this a little further, and that should be our first level done there. Easy peasy. All right, so now I can go and duplicate this, save as, scenes, level 2. Cool. And heading into that, level creator, now I can go and we can make this level, which will introduce the shoot enemies probably on their own and then mix them in with the asteroids. Simple enough. Then probably level 3 will introduce the going sideways thing. And then level 4 can expand on that. Level 5 introducing the turn enemies, yada yada. Okay, so now in this here, we're going to want a wave of just having the turn enemies to introduce them on their own. So we'll go 15 of those. Because they're turning, well, I'll say that we want to space them out a decent bit. So I'll go like that. And actually, yeah, we can have these be different. They don't necessarily have to be the same. So they can be pretty close, left to right, but be spaced out width or depth-wise, I guess. I'll increase that to 6, I guess. Just the next 5. Increase that just a bit to 8. Just make it a little more different. Then second wave, then combining both of them, having the asteroids and the there we go, and the turn enemies, or move, yeah, the turn enemies and the asteroids. So we'll do that like that, and then decently spaced apart, bam, bam, and 2 and 2, and then we can go and test that. Actually, I could expand having 3 waves. Yeah, I might actually go and do that. First, we'll just test out just how this looks and feels. All right, so now we have, yeah, just a whole bunch of these enemies. I don't need to bother shooting all of them because I don't need to, oh, well, okay, there we go. But, yeah, actually, okay, going through, I can just look ahead and see what, how these look. And yeah, that seems to be fine. Just introducing these guys, then having both. I could also, I think I'll have 3, and then maybe have a wave where there's more asteroids, less turn enemies. Because if there's going to be 30 levels, we do want to increase the difficulty kind of gradually, so we don't want to crank it to a 10 too fast. But here we can do something like this. So 5 and 15, and have a 15 and 5 there. Like that. And then these depths can be the same. I'll change them slightly just to have them be very, very slightly different. All right, so now going into that, we can look at how well that's separated. So we got this gap, then this, then a big gap, and then all of these guys. Okay, I think I'll decrease that gap a bit. Yeah, so that, those, actually, yeah. That works. All right, that should be fine then. Boom, level 2 done. Blasting through this quite quickly. Now, if I think I'll skip ahead just a bit then to level, just to show off more of how quickly this can have a lot more variety. Skipping to level 5, where I want to introduce the Next style of enemy, the shooting enemy. So first we can have that just be on its lonesome. Zero that out. The spacing. Since these enemies are shooting, they're a lot more of a threat, so we'll keep them more so spaced out. I'm just going to cut this back to one wave as well for a second. As well, another thing to be able to, if I wanted to have a lot of waves that were similar but slightly different values, I can set up one wave here, and then when I increase this, it sort of duplicates those values going down. So that can also be something that can make this easier to set up. So at this point, yeah, okay. At this point, we will start to have rotating be a thing. So like we'll introduce it either in level 3 or 4. So we'll just assume that we can have rotations mid-level, but maybe we won't have the 45 just yet, just between going straight up and sideways. So distance to next, leave that as is. Yeah, so this first wave basically is done. We also want the levels to slowly, I guess, get longer as we go on. Basically having this steady difficulty increase. But we don't want a difficulty increase to necessarily be exactly linear. It can be good to potentially have some levels that sort of spike a bit more in difficulty and then go down a bit, just so it's not, just to add more variety to it and have it not be as predictable and that sort of thing. Anyway, so now next then we can start to combine, maybe have some of both of those, just 2 enemy types. You don't necessarily need to be too crazy with this. Actually, we can maybe go on a 90-degree turn, which would be 0 and actually, yeah, 2 would be turning to the left, I think. We can do that. And if we do have that, then maybe just going 5 and 5 like that, introducing both of those, and you have a lot less space to work with dodging bullets, so it might be better for these to still stay a bit more spread out there and there. Yeah, maybe I can go like a bit closer together and a lot more randomness with how tightly packed they are. Last wave, going back to maybe just going down, which would be 4. That, yeah, seems to work. All right, then actually I can also spread this out a bit more to 10 and 10 and 10. All right, and then have all enemy types, maybe 5 of each, but slightly more of that of the turn enemies, just because. And then have, yeah, the same level of how densely packed they are. That should work. All right, testing that out. Cool. That, and then the scores automatically gets adjusted. So waiting a second, and our enemies come in and slowly start shooting. Cool. Introducing these guys, and then okay, oh, well, okay. But if I can get to the end, then going forward, then we have the sideways section with just some of these, yeah, being like that. And then this, ooh, okay, well, yeah, I think we want these to be a bit more tightly packed, I'm thinking, because I think I let the max be a bit too big. Yeah, because there are some noticeable gaps. Oh wait, no, that's not what that is at all. That would be a result of, I put 5 waves in there, didn't I? Yeah, I did. You know, actually, why not? Let's use them. Actually, we'll go for 4. How about we go 2 there? Deciding. Maybe having 2 waves being sideways and then go down. Yeah, we'll use that. I'll copy all these. Well, values are mostly the same, but yeah, actually I'll copy them there, 10 and 5, and then going, those are the same. So now we'll change this up to be also part of being sideways up here. So then, to contrast from the top here, we kind of have it more spread out on the y-axis than we do on the z-axis. Let's have this be further apart and then this be closer together. Maybe going something like that. Yep. All right. So now let's test how that looks in a second. Cool. So now we have, large group of these enemies, then those, and then combined. Perfect. That works, I think. And then combined score of 800 being the required, which works out, I believe. So bam, another level done. Saving that, and now we'll go, let's skip ahead a lot more and make level 15 here. We don't necessarily have to make the levels in order. In fact, you could make a bunch of random levels, sort of rank them based on difficulty and then sort them, but yeah. All up to how you take it. All right. So now level 15 will be introducing our turn and shoot enemies. So that'll be the first level that has that. As well, at this point, I'd imagine we would have the 45 turn thing, so we can do that. In fact, we can start why don't we start this level off on turn going that way to the top. Whoops, that's not the number I want to be messing with. A turn to the top left, which would be a rotation of 7. And then we'll want to actually, if we're starting on a turn, we'll want to take the turn pivot and start it like that. So actually, if I just went 7 times 45, that'll be starting that in that exact direction. So that's good. That's what we want. Yeah. Oh, that's top left. Oh, well, backwards, but that's fine. So then distance to next, like 5. On these all got zeroed out. That's fine. Okay, so we're introducing our num enemies 4. Let's go 10. Well, yeah. Well, no, let's go 5 and have them pretty spread out because they are fairly big enemies. So we can go between, let's go 3 and 5 on both sides there. Just have that. Yeah, and then the second wave, actually we'll have that be 10. Then the next wave will keep the rotation like that for a bit and then start to have more waves of our other enemies. Let's try and hit 5 waves here. So we'll have 2 waves being that same 45. Then maybe we could turn, trying to keep things interesting. We can turn to the one of the 90-degree angles, so going not there, 2 maybe, and then 2 for a bit, and then have these last 2 be maybe going straight up, being 0 for both of those. All right, so that's how we'll do that. So having this here, we'll have more of the turn and shoots integrated with how about our other turn enemy, or how about just a bunch of asteroids to sort of get in the way. We can try that and we have a bit more of those, and then we'll keep the same density there. It's again random enough, so like the numbers are far enough apart, so it should be a decent amount of randomness. Actually, yeah, and then here going sideways we'll have let's have, I'm thinking by the end we'll want like 5 of each, so I'm just gonna put that in there with maybe slightly more asteroids than the rest to be like that. When we start going up, we could have, let's go 10 and 10 and 10 of both of those both of our turning type of enemies. That can be good there. And then here we can have, actually, why don't we have both of our other enemies there? Yeah, that works. All right, so let's see how that looks. So starting off here, we're already on that turn, and then we have a bunch of these enemies, introducing them. Then we mix in these guys, and then we have both of those enemies, and then both of those, and then a bit of everything. All right, let's go through this then. Yep. So yeah, we introduce these guys and then have those 2 enemies like that. All right, but anyway, that should about do it for this. Now, one last thing I would like to do is over in our level select, actually modifying this to be able to better suit our 30 levels that we're now going to need. So first of all, I'm going to delete all of our buttons except one. I'll position this better so it's more in the top. So it's up and to the left a bit more, so we'll be able to fit more of our numbers. I don't know how, actually, yeah, how I can go about spacing the letters apart, the numbers apart evenly. Ooh, I don't like that. If I hold control while moving this, then they move by exact values, but it's still too big for, because we're zoomed out so much, it has a lot of ground to cover, I guess. So what I'm going to do is, by going to edit snap settings, I can change, what am I even, I can do this, come on. It just, like only a few more videos, I can do it. Then I can start the new thing, then I can change things up a bit, and then, okay. Got this. All right, and that should about do things up. What am I saying? Why can't I just talk properly? Okay. Okay, and that should finish off this level here. So now that we're done with that, I could go and make the rest of the levels, but I think I've shown enough, and that making the rest of the levels will be more of the same, but at least, I don't know, it is interesting to make this level creator. And we definitely have more variety to our levels now, more randomness and all that. Now, before we end things off, I would like to go to the level select and modify this a bit to better suit our 30 levels that we're going to have now. So to do that, I'm going to first get rid of, this thing about how I want to do this. So yeah, I'll delete those two buttons there. I'm going to go to edit snap settings here, and change, that's the x-axis. I'm going to change this to 50, just temporarily. So now if I go to move this and I hold control, it's going to move in 50 increments, 50 unit increments. So I'm going to duplicate this, move it over. I'm going to do this 10 times and then down twice to have a 10 by 30 grid. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now they're evenly spaced enough. As well, then I can go and actually before, yeah, so I'll duplicate all of these, move them down. Is that on the control thing? I think it is. Let me try that again. Those are not, yeah, I guess they are. Oh wait, no, right, because I didn't edit the Y one. Yes, so bam, change that to 52. Yes, so now I should be able to move these down. There we go, like that, and like that. Cool. All of these except the quick game button. I'm now going to, before I forget, put those back so that I don't need them like that anymore. Whoop. And I'm going to, where is it? Actually, if I hit scale here, and then I should be able to, I can scale all of them together and have them still be the same distance apart. Whoa. And then, nope, if I can select this by this blue square here, then I can move them all back in here, go back to this view, and actually, well, I'll stay in this view to be able to adjust this. But now we can see we now have a grid of 10 by 3, 30 level buttons here. I'll move that down. Actually, I'll move the quick game button to the bottom of all this because it's at the bottom. So yeah, now we have that. I'll go and rename them all after I'm done, before the next episode. Like rename all the numbers and what level they refer to down here. But yeah, that'll be it for that. In the next episode, I'd like to do one more thing before we're basically finished up with this game. I'd like to actually do some more stuff with unlocking. I'd like to have, with the power-ups, before they actually show up, have you do the first few levels, no power-ups. After you beat level 10, then power-ups start to show up. Then after you beat level 15, no, 20, then, or after you beat level 10, the shield power starts showing up. Then after you beat level 20, then the triple shot shows up. And don't know what I'll do for level 30. Maybe nothing, but I'll see. Maybe I'll have a thing for unlocking cheats or something. But and then having that save for clicking new game and continue. But anyway, we'll worry about that then. So that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, have a good day.